Hi, it's JJ DiGeronimo, the CEO of Tech Savvy Women and Purposeful Woman. Thank you for joining us for another Women in STEM series. Today we have Shirley Troilo. Hi, Shirley.
Hi.
It is
So
so
glad.
great to have you.
Thank you.
We have so much to talk about. Your journey is just tremendous, and I'm really looking forward to talking about how you started out in the industry, about the degree that you obtained, and where you are today.
Okay.
The-
Well, I started out several years ago. I was about 20 years old when my mother got me onto a aerospace company, Teledyne Brown Engineering, and at that time I did not have a degree. I was a working mother, and most of the people that I worked with over that time kept encouraging me to go back to school. They felt that I had what it took to succeed in that area. And the specific group I was working with was in software development. So I was able to see firsthand what they were doing. They were doing most of the programmatic coding for space station. So I went back to school. There's a local college, University of Alabama in Huntsville, and they were very focused in technology and engineering classes. So I signed up, went over, and I worked full time and took classes part time for a number of years. So even though I knew that it was not a traditional route, I kind of stuck with it. It was very difficult over the years because I kept feeling like, all my other friends that I had gone to high school with had graduated, and I was kind of doing everything backwards. So that's kind of been the story of my life, is to do it backwards. I continued working with Teledyne, and as I was working towards my degree, I just kept taking on additional roles, responsibilities. They were very good to train me and give me additional tasks to do. And then when I transitioned into the training and multimedia group, I was privileged to work on many different projects, one of which was to work with the astronauts in NASA. So we developed training courses for them. So as they were doing their experiments in space, they had all of the right tools to perform those actions. We also did a lot of coursework for ATEC in helicopter training. We did coursework for the INS so that they could detect fraudulent passports.
wow.
So after all of that, I just so happened I had a friend over at Boeing that knew another person I worked with, and they said they were starting up a new plant and they needed IT resources. And would I be interested in coming over and doing their webmaster and web application development? So I was continuing to go to school, and Boeing picked up the tab to help pay for those classes. So don't ever think that if you don't have enough money, and just because you weren't one of those lucky girls that had a family that could financially support you right out of high school, there are ways to get an education and to exceed in technology. So as I continued in at Boeing, I started working with their system administration group. So I got a lot of experience with that. And I finally graduated. They offered me a permanent position there. And it's just really been one thing after another. I was then brought on to another company in Huntsville as their IT manager. And I've worked a lot of defense and space contracts.
Shirley, this sounds tremendous. I mean, you've given us so many great nuggets already. Just the idea that at 20, you basically started in a position because your mom brought you in, right? You didn't have the funds, it sounded like, to go to college. But once you were in the position, what encouraged you to go to college? Why didn't you just keep going down the path that you were going on? What really inspired you to go to college and get that degree?
I had a lot of people that I worked with that apparently felt I had a great ability to do the things that they were doing. as I saw that what they were working on, and I would go by and ask somebody questions when they were working on a development application, and apparently I was intelligent enough. They're like, you need to go get your degree because you can do this work too. So a lot of people encouraged me and told me to go back and told me the company would pay for it. Money wasn't a problem. At that time, things were much better in the economy. They covered 100% of your education. So one of the things that my manager told me was, it doesn't really matter even if you just take one class at a time and you graduate at 40, you're still going to graduate with a degree. So don't get hung up on the fact that you have to finish in 4 years or 6 years. If it takes you 10 or 20 years, that's fine. Just knock it out and go do it.
That's amazing. It's amazing to hear that you had so many mentors along the way. And then you talked about, and I think mentors are just tremendous to career journeys because sometimes you don't feel like you can do it yourself. And you need someone to encourage you. And it sounded like you had those people.
I did. And I've been fortunate at most every job that I've had, no matter what challenge I had, if it was a development or application problem, any kind of problem I ran into, there was always somebody willing to help. So whatever you're working on, if it's something that you think you're in over your head or you're going to embarrass yourself because you don't know the answers or how to solve a problem, you just need to develop the relationships within the company across all different aspects of people. And if you're friendly and nice and you're a very hard worker, then there's always going to be somebody there that's going to help you out.
That's awesome. Awesome advice for women of any age and really any gender. I just think it's just getting yourself out there, asking for advice and showing that you can do it. The other thing you brought up, as you moved from your initial company to Boeing, you said a couple friends had called you and told you about new opportunities. Can you talk a little bit about your network?
I've just been able to have a lot of people that I've worked with over the years. I've kept in touch with through email, or we meet for lunch.
Yeah.
And as I graduated from high school in this area too. So as a lot of people went out broadly to different companies, they knew me. So when they knew that I was going back to school and what I was working on, then I had just a large network of people that were in different companies that were able to help me get in.
Right. Oh, that's just awesome. I really can't encourage women enough to build their network and sustain it in a way that when they do go through tough times or they do have challenges, they have people to call on. So it sounds like you just have paved your own path. And, as many of us know, paving your own path is not always easy. So what type of challenges and obstacles have you encountered along your journey?
Well, being in mostly the IT business in the United States, we see this happening a lot. They are looking for a cheaper way of doing things. So they're sending jobs overseas. There's contracts that are ending on the defense side. Mergers and acquisitions are a hotbed right now. So large companies are merging different organizations, and one of the key places that they look to cut is in the IT industry. Mm-hmm. So they're either outsourcing their jobs, they're sending them overseas, or they're drastically trying to reduce them. So trying to stay competitive and stay ahead is extremely hard. I've been in a couple situations where companies merged and then they decided that they would use outsourcing or outside resources to fill their IT needs. So then you find yourself in a situation to where you one day are looking for a job. So then you really have to work your network again, and you send kind of the red flag out to everybody and saying, hey, I need some help over here. And they talk to all of their network people and people that they have influence over. And then it's just kind of a broadcast across the community. and I was able to find something within 2 weeks. It's just I've really been fortunate that I have not been without a job for a long period of time, and I think I've changed companies about 5 or 6 times in the last 24 years.
Whoa. I just think that's just great advice. And it really seems to me that you not only position yourself for great opportunities by getting the education and keeping your network alive, but then when you do get it, you overachieve, you over excel in those positions. So
Right.
on that note, do you have any words of advice you would give younger women getting into the workforce right now?
Sure. When you're going out looking at job opportunities and you're looking at an application, or you're looking at a job posting, and you're going down through there and you're saying, well, I know how to do about 5 or 6 of those things. I mean, there are about 20 of those. And you get discouraged because it seems like every time you're looking at a job posting, you have some of the criteria, but you don't have all of it. A lot of times, most businesses, they just kind of put everything in the kitchen sink that they're looking for. So what you need to do is fill out the application and fill out your resume to that job posting for whatever you have and what you can bring to the table. Because you may have a set of skills that they don't even know they need. And once they see that, there's something that may happen in the background that, somebody decides, hey, we could actually use her, maybe not for this position, or we can kind of cross-train her and have her do something else. So take those opportunities always. Don't get discouraged by looking at something and thinking that you don't know how to do it. Don't say you know how to do something that you don't. Be very honest about that, because that will get you into a lot of trouble if you do get the job. But be honest always when you're going for interviews, and tell them that if you don't know it, that you'll figure it out. And if for ladies that are in the technical areas, we know how to figure things out pretty well. So we need to have confidence in ourselves that we can perform. And that would be probably one of the best pieces of advice I can give.
I think that's tremendous, Shirley, because so many of us, and I've heard this in many conferences and many panels, that women look at job descriptions and they have 75% of what they're asking, but they do not apply because they're like, well, I just don't know how to do, these few things. And what you're saying is people put in job descriptions absolutely everything they want in a candidate. And you're saying apply, because they might see things in what you have to offer, and they might not. A lot of things they might list might be nice to have. So it's just tremendous advice. Everything you've said today has been so powerful, and I really think gives many women a different view to a woman in a STEM position. And I really, really appreciate you taking the time. So how do people contact you if they want to continue the conversation?
Absolutely. My email address is Shirley, SHIRLEY, .Troilo, TROILO, @gmail.com.
Oh, that's wonderful. And then also, are you on LinkedIn?
I am. I'm on LinkedIn as well.
Great. Well, we'll post it at the end for you. And I just really want to thank you for your time. You really have been just a wealth of knowledge and just such an inspiration. So thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks.